So welcome back to Doing Stuff Outdoors. And what am I doing today? We're going to start reassembly of the Stihl 066 that we disassembled in the previous episode. So stick around and let's get to it. Show you the difference in these tanks. Besides, one's new. But if you see that, you see the difference here. How much wider the tank is here. It's pretty much the same on this side, but it's a lot wider on this side by maybe quarter, half inch, something like that. And like I said, it's got different trigger assemblies and things like that. But like I said, this tank was not correct for this particular power head. Because again, this was for the old flat top saws. This one here. So, go set it aside. But when I was doing all this, through research and things like that, I found out that, you know what? You can still buy that old tank. You can't get it, and you can even get it with the kind of the opening in it for the red light if you still got the red light, but it's a different part number than the old one used to be, so. Kind of weird. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Kind of boogered it up. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put this coil back in. I'll be right back. Got my trusty gauge here. Said this is a Stihl specialty tool to set the air gap between the coil and the magnets or the poles on the flywheel. I'll rotate. Got compression. Around like so, and then that kind of sticks in there. And I'll take the coil. And sometimes I always take stuff off that I don't need to. Like I said, I'm sorry you probably can't see it, but so all these bolts have washers on them for the coil. Grab my T27. Tool's kind of neat. Again, it provides the correct air gap, but you put it on there first, and then everything's magnetized and it just kind of sticks to everything, and you're set. So most guys assemble this stuff and use a little electric impact, and you know, this is magnesium. kind of got to be careful with everything you do on it. Not over tighten it now. So there, that all set. So there we go. So now I think I can start putting the tank back on. Wipe that off. Something on there. So this saw I'm going to keep. I usually sell them. I'm going to keep this one. All right, so first order. Again, these wires ran back through this grommet. I put my glasses on for this. Oh, long needle nose are great. Get in there where your fingers can't. Amazing what happens when you put some light on the situation. Holy smokes. And this one. Like so. Spin it around. Other side. Keep pulling these wires through. Like so. There we go. Now I'm going to reach in there. Not yet. Get the tank a little bit more lined up. Just enough room to get in there with a pair of needle nose. Put that impulse hose back on the crankcase. Now the impulse hose provides kind of like alternating vacuum or pressure, I guess I should say, that pulses the diaphragm in the carburetor to pump fuel. That's kind of what an impulse hose does. And we got to stick this guy back in there. So be real careful not to tear this. Don't use anything sharp like a screwdriver. Again, I'm using this Stihl specialty tool to manipulate it. Service manual on this thing says take a piece of string and put around it, pull it tight to squeeze it all down, stick it through the hole, and then release the string. Yeah, I don't know who does that. I have tried it before, but it just doesn't work very good. There we go. So all that's in there. So now I'll go back and start putting the mounts back in. Okay. Push that one down in there. Getting them back in is a lot easier. Pop it in. Just pop it in. Like I said, you don't really want to use a impact to tighten those up. So I always just run them down. Snag them up. So, put the little dust plugs back in. Flip it over and do the other side. So, this big one in the front, like so. A lot of guys like this anti-vibe system on these older Stihls. I can see if you were a faller, definitely. It's a lot stiffer, it's easier to control the cut. Instead of having those spring ones. A lot of fallers, like West Coast Saws has a faller's kit to stiffen everything up. These older Stihl saws, or sorry, for the newer saws to make them stiffer like these older ones, but even my hands get tired of, you can still feel the vibrations through these. Okay, all the mounts are on tight. Now, what I call the tedious task of getting these wires ran back through there, hooked up. And it ran down around everything. Now the newer saws, this is a lot easier on, because they're all right here. They got nice little grommets or passageways to put on there. But these, and this one back here in the very back, there's a tab. Like I said, you probably can't see it. There's a tab back there to hook that booger on. So the easiest thing to do is get it hooked first. And then worry about getting it all tucked away. Kind of got the get the wire bent in your favor, which I'm not doing a very good job of. Now I can't see. Got it started. And it's on. Something finally went right. Again, you got to get all this tucked down underneath here so the carburetor doesn't get pinched in the carburetor. Something like this. Just gotta be careful. It's gotta kind of be rounded around the same way, but I'm gonna slide it in here first. So. And it just slides in there like that. Push it in there a little bit more. So that's the kill switch. So the wire for the kill switch. And then he's kind of tuck in down there like that. Okay, that went pretty good. So now, I think they call it a baffle. And this so it kind of creates the set crush of that rubber gasket. Not sure exactly what they call that. All right, now that carburetor I took off, I'm not putting back on this saw. So hang on, I'll be right back. I'll go get so I'm putting a Tillotson carburetor on an HS320A. It's brand new. I found these for these holder saws. I actually bought a 066 that the guy put one on. He kind of put me on to them. And they're fully adjustable. So that's kind of cool. hooked up. Oh, come on. All right. So, I look at the fuel line. Fuel line's hooked up. I go back and look at the impulse line. Everything is as it should be. So everything looks good. Except I forgot to put that one headed on it. Don't you hate it when you see a part that you're like, oh. Thank goodness that one stayed on the tank that I just took off. So. Oh goodness. Okay. Looking good. So now we can put all the shroud and all that stuff back on it. Alright. That. Second chance. That nut just doesn't like going in there. And these baffles go on here. Baffles in case your gas squirts back through your carb. All right, I'm gonna go find the air filter. Or find a air filter. There we go. Got the pre-filter and that one. I forget some of the important things. Oh, don't tell me I gotta pull that whole thing out. There. But I was amazed when I got the saw. See all this protective tubing that they put over the wires? Usually that stuff is just so brown and it's brittle where the saw's been ran and gotten real hot. I did not replace that. Now somebody could have replaced it before me, no question about it, but a lot of people don't ever replace it. So, kind of makes me wonder. I don't think this thing ever really had the living daylights ran out of it. Even had the dust boot on the spark plug too, where it's a dust grommet. What in the Sam blazes? Looks like it's all there. If it don't start, there we go. There we go. I was gonna say, if it didn't start though, it's the first place I'm coming back to look. Stick this in there while I'm here. Sure, it's helping you adjusting the carburetor to have that in there. It just doesn't want to go in there. Good enough for what it's for. I see your flat tops didn't have this on it. I think I got some old flat top plastic down there. Just like so. And you get, it seems like you get a lot of wood chips in here without it. There's that. Put the fuel cap back on it. If I remember right when I bought this saw, this one was the one that came with it. Tell you that the screws, I wish they would bring back the, some of y'all might remember, like in the older, go back to the 90s and maybe even the early 2000s. The screws were gold colored. That was kind of cool. I like those. They used to stick out like a sore thumb, but I don't have as much trouble getting the clutch cover or recoil cover back on. Whoops. A little anxious there. Slide. What do y'all think? I like it. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. That's all I got time for today. But if you like this type of content, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Again, thanks for watching and have a super fantastic day.